discussing issues regarding understanding of other faith. And today, that's we have to focus because of the limitation of time.
Ann Wan Seng ke Ann Wan Seng?
ANN, macam N namanya.
Nama perempuan?
Tak, N. Ann family name dia.
Discussing Ann Wan Seng. Hello, can you mute please?
Yeah, I can listen.
Go ahead. No,
My name is not Ann Wan Seng. My name is Ann Wan Seng.
People have not. There's a lot of sound. Open. Can you do something about it?
Okay, you go ahead. We are unmuting all of them. Muting all of them, yeah.
Haji Jamal is also muted. You need to unmute yourself first.
Now, okay? Can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear.
Okay. You have to pardon, we are doing this quite recently. So, inshallah, we will be improving from time to time. And the
Facebook now I'm recording.
topic today, I think, is very important for us to move forward.
Because I'm recording, I cannot make it too loud.
Understand each other, number one. Number two is actually to contribute to national unity. I'm seeing Kamil's face here. Where is Dr. Sayyid? Okay, so that part. And there is a need really to contribute to the understanding of each other. The whole Malay saying is very, very important. Because kalau tak kenal, tak cinta lah untuk kita faham, understand each other. And one other important thing is the religion separation. Malaysia and Islam, the dominant religion, the majority religion is also Islam. And there's a need also to understand Islam because of the Islamophobia that is happening, especially emanating from the West. We had a few discourses on Islamophobia in the West, and some of the reasons why Islamophobia emanates from the West. Apparently, one of the reasons is for election purposes of right-wing groups in the US, in Europe, even in Brazil, and so on, which want to use the Islamophobic narrative to ensure that they can win the elections in their respective countries. And this is a very systematic process with big budgets that has been carried out very systematically, apparently. And the other main reason, there's two reasons studied for election purposes, and the other reason is actually stated by researchers from Zaytuna Institute, United States, which states that Islamophobia is a biggest chunk of Islamophobia is related to Zionism and the support of the state of Israel. So these are the two elements, and this Islamophobic narrative trickles down into our country, and that will create misunderstandings among the different religious adherents. My dear brothers, sisters, if we walk down the street of any major city, we like to see more diversity than what people 100 years ago have seen. People 100 years ago have seen, and people with very different ideas on how society should function, how we should live together, and having different values, differing religious views on freedom, sexuality, justice, and all these differences. How do we get all of them to live together harmoniously with better and good understanding of each other and peacefully? One crucial way that was best stated by a British author, C.S. Lewis, in 1945. He states the best way is to increase their religious literacy, where one gains the insight to the other belief systems by stepping inside and looking along them, not looking at them, looking with them, not looking at them. I think that is, according to C.S. Lewis, is something that is crucial. And not rather than looking at them from the outside. You have to look along with them, together with them. The key to this kind of understanding is dialogue. Hopefully what we're doing now is an element of dialogue. The purpose of dialogue is to understand, however fanciful or wrong the beliefs might appear, it requires letting the human voice of a believer express in concrete terms how his or her world is experienced. When questions are asked, it is similar to how you experience stories, and stories are the heart of human life. Becoming literate of others, other beliefs is a predicate to a stable and peaceful multicultural society. And countries throughout the world are seeing the emergence of poison-breathing hydra, he calls it, that has never been thought to understand anything other than itself. The inevitable result is this issue of scapegoating, racism, tribalism, and isolationism that has marked our recent politics around the world. So we need this increasing literacy, religious literacy, which could be focused on the process rather than content. Yeah, I'll just finish this up. Since religious literacy is predicated on meaningful dialogue, the purpose is to develop these skills in students with active listening, honest questioning, and humility. That is, I think, the basis of our dialogue to achieve religious literacy. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would conclude by saying that this event by action, Allied Coordinating Committee of Islamic NGOs in Malaysia, with our partners, is an ongoing attempt for us to understand each other, inshallah. So may Allah bless our effort. May Allah bless our brothers and sisters out there who have taken time for the discourse tonight, inshallah. So with that, I pass the mic to Dr. Sayyid Hussain. Tafadhal.
Thank you very much, Tuan Haji Jamaluddin, for your very thoughtful explanation in tonight's forum. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of us. Thank you very much for our panelists today. Dr. Jaysuman, who is the president of Tul Mustafa organization focusing on humanitarian work, the co-founder of Sumbangan, Harmony Interfaith program in Johor, a program to build a
Not
bridge,
really.
multicultural society for peace and harmony. And also Dr. Jaysuman from Johor with us tonight, a volunteer of Hidayah Center Foundation. Thank you very much for joining and accepting our invitation as one of our panelists today. Dr. Jaysuman, where are you? Can we see your very handsome face? Doctor? So, Doctor will be with us tonight with us, and then he will be one of our panelists. And the second panelist is Ustaz Tuan Haji Fitri Abdullah, who is, the full name is Muhammad Fitri bin Abdullah. He has given us his occupation is principal consultant at Fitra Brotherhood Service. His education is on the degree in economic and diploma in Islamic education, Islamic studies. As working experience, he was working as a manager in corporate banking division Nebank. As his position currently in NGOs, chairman of the Youth Development Program Committee in Malaysia Muslims Welfare Organization Perkim, Vice President of Malaysian Muslims Welfare Organization again, Chairman of Perkim for State of Selangor, Selangor State Islamic Affairs Council member, and he is actively involved in da'wah to our brothers and sisters of other faith and new Muslims. He was actively involved in counseling to Muslims prostrate in various state muftis offices, sharing knowledge of various faiths, particularly in Hinduism. So that is our Ustaz Tuan Haji Fitri Abdullah. So the third speaker and the panelist tonight is Dr. Ann Wan Seng. Dr. Ann Wan Seng is a lecturer of UTP, General Secretary of Jamia Selangor Wilayah Persekutuan currently, and Chairman of Makmakaya, and also National Council member of Turkey, with wider experience in sharing Islam and delivering Islamic knowledge topics, various seminars and conferences, and as well as training. So now, tonight we're going to have the following manner our forum. Three of our experienced panelists, doctors, will share their some tips and do and don'ts when we meet our brothers and sisters, the other faith, to introduce Islam to have peace and harmony with our, people of other faith in Malaysia and as well as other countries. And also, after they are delivering three messages, then you can hear me? We will have question and answer for our participant tonight, inshallah. So wait, and we appeal to you, please be with us until the end of the session, inshallah. Right now, I would like to invite our first panelist speaker, Dr. Jaysuman. Can unmute now.
InsyaAllah.
Jaysuman, thank you very much for joining. Faliyatafaddal.
Alhamdulillah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Sound check. Is my voice loud and clear? Sound test.
Yes, yes, yes. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Brothers and sisters, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera. First of all, thank you very much for the invitation. I would like to introduce myself first. My name is Jaysuman. By profession, I'm a senior lecturer in University of Technology Malaysia. But today, I'm not representing my university, but in fact, I am actually just here to be as a brother to you, as human, as our fellow friends over here, together to discuss on some important matters, some important affairs that we have to address for the nation, for the people, and of course for the Ummah as well. So please feel free to just call me Brother J. Don't worry about it. I'm more comfortable to just call me J, and it's easy to remember J from Johor. So I'm currently in Johor. The world is pretty much very small now. It's getting smaller because you see, we have the whole world in Zoom tonight, and we even also have this live broadcasting is going on Facebook, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah. So it's pretty much the whole world is like, where is the world now? It's like everyone is so connected, right? So Alhamdulillah, first of all, I would like to also express my appreciation to Haji Engineer Muhammad Jamaluddin Shamsuddin as the CEO of Exit Chairperson, and also Dr. Sayyid Hussain and Brother Kamil Idris. Thank you very much for the arrangements and everything, and also our panel, Dr. Ann Wan Seng and Ust Fitri Abdullah as well. I would also like to say that I really feel I'm not worthy to be here, to be one of the panelists. Sincerely, and I would like to say honestly, I'm just a brother who will be here just to share with you, and I'm not sure if I'm among the youngest over here. I'm just in my 3 series. I'm still in my 3 series, But anyway, so I'm here just to share some thoughts and a little bit experience, which actually there's lots of you outside there has actually more experience and more insight views of this topic specifically. So we are here just to sharing. Like in the Islamic, we have this verse called "Watawasaw bil haq, watawasaw bis sabr." Yeah, kita berpesan-pesan terhadap kebenaran dan berpesan-pesan dalam kesabaran. It's patient over there is required in order for us to convey the truth, the message. Yeah. So Alhamdulillah, coming back to the importance of the topic today about understanding other faith, right? Now, I would like to share a little bit. Recently, we have just done this consensus, right? Census, right? Yeah, banci. Yeah, right? So we already have the statistic, according to the Department of Statistics Malaysia for the 2020. Among the races in Malaysia, this is something very interesting. Bumi Putra is actually, we have, by the way, a quick fact. Citizens of Malaysia, how many citizens of Malaysia do we have in 2020 today? So we have around 29.7 million. You can refer to the Department of Statistics Malaysia. Yeah. And Bumi Putra stands 69.6%, which is around 0.3% of increment, from the previous years. And Chinese, the race is 22.6%. Indian, 6.8%. And something interesting is that Chinese and Indian, the race is actually declining in Malaysia. Yeah, there's a declining numbers of citizens of Chinese and Indian in Malaysia, according to the Department of Statistics Malaysia. And other races, 1%, which is 0.3% increment since 2011. So we are seeing some dynamic changes from the numbers of these races that we have in Malaysia. And that is about races. When we talk about religion, the faith, according to a statistic in 2017 by one of the scholars, our local scholar, Islam, just like Dr. Sayyid mentioned just now, is the highest population. The highest numbers of practitioners, Muslims, which is 61.32%. 61%, yeah. And Buddhism is 19.84%. Buddhism is the second highest in Malaysia. yeah, after Islam. Yeah. And the third one is, guess what? Is Christianity. Christianity is 9.24%. Yeah. Then followed by Hinduism, 6.27%. Now we used to see Christianity was, below Hinduism many years ago. So we are seeing some changes over here. Yeah. So this is something that is very interesting happening in the multicultural, huge diversity of a multicultural background like we have in Malaysia, right? Now, if we compare this, these are some of the religion that I have highlighted according to the statistic. But then, this is one thing we want to actually benchmark with some other countries, just like Tuan Haji Jamaluddin just now mentioned about other countries, right? If we look at Australia, they have actually more than 120 faiths. Just only in Australia, more than 120, just mentioned that. Kita Malaysia berapa ya? We always mention the three, the main one, right? Islam is the highest, and follow on Buddhism, Hinduism, and Christianity, the famous ones, right? But in Australia, they have more than 120 faiths, and they have more than 400 what do you call this? Kaum dan bangsa, yeah. So it's a much huge diversity over there they have. So that is why the topic that we are discussing today, this is something very important for us, how to, in one way, to educate the people. Right? So we can look at the benefit of having interfaith engagement on programs. The first one we can see, of course, is to promote harmonious living, tolerance. And the second is to seek unity, keeping the society together, right? And this is interesting. In 1957, guess what? 1957. What's so special about 1957? Merdeka kan? Yeah. So when Tunku Abdul Rahman, he has this very famous statement. He said that unity is our fundamental strength as a nation. So since then, you see, he already foresee all these things. You know, when we have already all this multicultural background, even on the early days and the formation of Malaysia as well. So he has already emphasized this from the very early days. Unity is our fundamental strength as a nation. That's by Tunku Abdul Rahman. Yeah. So I would say one of the criteria for us to see if a country is civilized or not, when we talk about Ramadan, there are some of the criteria for us to look into it to see if the country is actually developed and also civilized. One of the very important criteria is education. Education stands very important role in the country because, you know, machine we can just program. I'm also one of the engineering line, you know, we just do programming. We just program the machine. It will just follow exactly what you want. If it doesn't follow, it's not the machine's fault. It's our fault. We wrongly programmed it. Right. But then human is so dynamic. That is why humans are so special. Yeah. You can't program anyone. Yeah? But what we can do is to give awareness. Yeah? Awareness. So that's a little bit of the introduction, I would say, for this first round. Yeah, that's pretty much. So we can have a look at from the Department of Statistics Malaysia. Yeah, that's a very interesting statistic we have it over there. So this is so in line with the Quran in Surah Al-Hujr, chapter 49, verse 13. I'm sure everyone heard about this. We will memorize it. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonir rajim. Ya ayuhan nas inna khalaqnakum min zakarin wa unsa wa ja'alnakum syu'uban wa qabaila lita'arafu. O mankind, indeed we, Allah, have created you from male and female and made you into peoples and tribes, different tribes and nations, that you may know each other. And indeed, now this is the very beautiful part of it. Indeed, the most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous one of you. So Allah do not see Chinese is going to be the best, or Indian or Malay or anything. No. But it's the one that is righteous of you. It's going to be the best in the sight of Allah. So inshallah with this I complete and I finish my first round of the assignments. So over back to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jaysuman. Brother Joho, yeah? That's a very good way of putting that the main purpose of engagement of interfaith is to unite all the races to live in harmony. It's like Abdul Rahman, Allah Yarham said, unity is our fundamental another 20 minutes. Tuan Haji Ustaz Fitri Abdullah, فليتفضل مشكورا. Tuan Haji, Alan, you have to unmute,
Sorry.
Please unmute.
Alright, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Doktor.
Waalaikumsalam warahmah.
Alhamdulillah. My beloved brothers and sisters, Brother Jamal and the panelists, the rest of them, Alhamdulillah, I'm glad to join today's meeting. And I would rather say this is more on sharing. And I've heard, I think, from Dr. J, I think, almost complete when we had to listen. And I have just a little bit more to add, especially talking about a plural society like ours in Malaysia. And of course, Dr. Brother Jamal was saying about understanding each other. Like the famous Malay saying, you don't know a person, you will never understand them. To love a person, you get to know them. And what most living in a plural society, I mean, I'm just speaking about the reality, what really happens in Malaysia. We can't sit in the table, talk to each other, despite the different religion, different races. But at the end of the day, what's really in our hearts? Are we really talking or saying what is in our hearts? Only Allah knows, only God knows. God who created us, only He knows what's in our hearts. But when it comes to sharing, and one mistake that we always do is that we like to say whatever we want to say, but those who are listening want to listen what they want to listen. This is where we always have the conflicts, misunderstanding, and sometimes we don't agree to each other, and end up with sometimes, putting up the cyber phases, and then a lot of things. And we have been saying we are following up on all these things very closely. But most importantly is that I think it's time for us Malaysians, especially, or people of all kind of faith we have. Of course, and I like the topic itself says that understanding others' faith. Me, as much as I'm a Muslim, alhamdulillah, I learn other faiths. And I was attending a Christian funeral recently, and alhamdulillah, I was very glad. At least I had some knowledge about Christianity when I was there. I could understand some do's and don'ts. And I was attending one of my friends' father was Chinese, and I was attending the funeral. At least alhamdulillah that I learned something about their religion, something about their do's and don'ts in their religion, and I know how to behave myself in a funeral. And alhamdulillah, and how many people, I mean, how many Malaysians do really take this kind of initiative to get to know others well? We always perceive things so that we really understand, but in actual fact we don't. And we, normally they say, oh, I know, I understand, I know everything. But what do you really do? And that's why I'm saying that it's time for us to open freely. I mean, if I don't know anything, I'll ask. I mean, right opposite my house of a Chinese neighbor, I always ask, why you never invite me for Chinese New Year? When I invite him for Hari Raya, they come. When I come to Chinese New Year, and they never even invite. And of course, I went to the extent of asking them, why, brother, why they don't, I mean, Chinese especially, they don't invite us. And I mean, alhamdulillah, they are very frank, and they are frank too, and they give some, it's just that they feel sometimes when they invite the Muslims, sometimes are very particular about a lot of things, about the food, the environment, a lot of things. They say, the nuisance. Only them sometimes it's a nuisance. I mean, alhamdulillah, and we voted not for the sake of food, friendship. People always feel that when we go and invite, when we go and visit somebody, and of course we are going there for the sake of food. Food is one of them, maybe, yes. And but I think, alhamdulillah, I mean, we see with my Chinese neighbors, they really understand that the Muslims eat halal food. They will serve them with halal food. And they, alhamdulillah, I never teach them, but alhamdulillah, they get to know all these kind of things. Likewise, that as a Muslim, same thing also with Hari Raya, I got some Buddhist friends who come to my house, Hindu friends who come to my house. And alhamdulillah, we are very much prepared to welcome them with vegetarian food, and we really appreciate them for coming and so much so. And as I said again, brother, it's how much that we are going to share with them. And for the Muslims, we have been told, Allah says in the Surah Fusilat, verse 33, Surah 41, verse 33, Allah says, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ. You can talk anything you want to talk, but Allah says that I would rather prefer to talk something that can bring people close to my deen, my religion, my path. And of course, in us introducing, I mean, many people are confused about Islam. what most, we are also confused about many other faiths in our country. And I think this is quite a right forum for us and sit and share with the rest of them. And then I think it's not just sharing, but the most important is the art of sharing. The art of sharing. And most of the time, I always tell our new brothers and sisters in Islam, your family is not interested in your religion, but they're more interested in you. It is us and how we're going to carry ourselves with them, portray a good image about ourselves, firstly. Secondly, of course, the faith that we love is Islam. And of course, when we go and talk to people, of course, to a certain extent, we respect. And I'm not saying that I'm a Muslim, I'm not going to listen to other than a Muslim talking to me. But we are open. I mean, we are very much taught. Like Brother Hayal Jamal was saying that, I mean, very much so that we are in a society. We have to accept each other. This is the reality that we are living in the so-called, what most likely we are now connected everywhere with the social media and so on. And like it or not, we have come to a point that we have to really understand others' faith, respect them. I mean, they can be what they want it to be, and we cannot force people now. Likewise, Allah says in the Quran, there's no compulsion in religion, and I doubt if any Muslims are forcing someone to become a Muslim. And if you come to my house or you come to our masjid, then you must become a Muslim. I don't think it's happening here in Malaysia and elsewhere as well. And sometimes, a lot of the misunderstandings we have, and especially people like to say, I'm always in discussion with some people of other faith. I don't say which particular faith. They like to say something that hurts your feelings, and they're very happy doing it, and they feel satisfied. And I said, okay, by all means, say anything you want to say. Say anything you want to say as long as you feel happy. And I'm not going to feel hurt because that's what you are. It's not that you are not representing everybody. You're not representing your society. You're not representing your faith or your religion. And you are a person, and I understand whatever. I mean, we have the maturity, especially now, especially when talking about sharing faith with other person. You want to get to know their faith. I mean, why want to say something about your faith to them? And of course, sometimes they are prepared, and most of the time they are not prepared to listen. And we have to create an environment where we can sit and talk. People always say, at least when I was some time ago, religion is a very sensitive issue. I would rather say the humans are very sensitive towards religion, but religions were never sensitive. Religion was never sensitive. Just say academically. I mean, you just learn. What was wrong in knowing other religion, other faith? And so many people say, no, don't talk about religion. And of course, I think the wrong people who speaks about religion, they have caused this kind of situation, environment they have created that they, just because of a few, I can say a bunch of them, they like to hurt people's feelings, insult other people's faith, they disrespect. And for the people conclude, all of them are like this. So therefore, conclusion, don't talk about religion. I think we are very much mature. We are very much mature on this. We understand each other. And to foster a better understanding, my dear brothers and sisters, I think, like it or not, be honest. Be honest. I mean, we are human beings. I mean, nothing wrong in being honest. Tell we don't like, just say don't like. If we don't understand, please clarify. If anything that we ask or you ask that it hurts somebody's feelings or something, there's some sensitivity, just spell it out. Then you don't have to just boycott the person or boycott the whole issue and blow up things out of proportion to one. You have to behave like that. Therefore, I would rather again say and conclude by saying that to foster a better understanding, we have to be honest to ourselves, we have to respect others and love everybody. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
That's great. Thank you very much, Ustaz Haji
Welcome.
Fitri Abdullah. Allah bless you. Right. Honesty with respect is one of the important elements that we need to adopt in our life when we are dealing with our brothers and sisters. So, and Tonaji has mentioned to us that we human feel that religion is a very sensitive a sensitive issue. But we ourselves, human, are sensitive. That's a very good way, right? We can ponder more on with that point that Tuan Haji Abdullah has given us through his experience. And what I can say that he is more a great human, right? Accepting all the brothers and sisters, right? And if you deal with him, you can personally see that you can learn from him a lot. So, dear brothers and sisters, there is a saying, we have to remember this always, that people of other faith or anyone don't see what is Islam or what is in the Quran and Sunnah, right? They see you, right, and judge you that you are Islam. They will judge Islam by seeing you and by looking at your dealing. Let us be honest and always respect others, right, when we're dealing with others, and share what is the best we have. Thank you very much, Tuan Haji Ust Fitri Abdullah. Now it's my honor to invite our Dr. Ann Wan Seng. Inshallah, he will share some tips and through his experience, positive points that how we can deal with our brothers and sisters of Chinese, or those who are from the Chinese culture and Chinese community. Falyatafaddal, Dr. Ann Wan Seng. This is your time. The ball is in your court. With 20 minutes, you can play around. Thank you. Can you please unmute your mic? Can you please
Assalamualaikum,
unmute?
Sayyid Hussain.
Waalaikumsalam. Ahlan.
And then to our brothers, our panelists, Saudara Jamaah, and for all the Muslim in Malaysia and in other countries. So I will try to look from the Chinese perspective. As a Chinese, although I already became a Muslim for 26 years, but I'm still a Chinese. I'm think like Chinese, and then I still implement some of the Chinese culture in my life. When we talk about the Chinese, we have to make clear about many misunderstandings that happen in our society. As a Muslim, religion is a complete way of life. Religion is an arti. But for the Chinese people, is other side. The culture is presenting their worldview. And then for the Chinese people, the culture is very important. They are very proud with their culture. So, as a Muslim, try not to condemning or criticize the Chinese culture. For the Chinese, belief is a part of their culture, including the religion is also integrate with their culture. And then culture is not only about a way of life. It's not about the worldview, but culture also consists of custom, a taboo, festival, tradition, heritage, moral, ethics, ritual, history, color and clothing. When we talk about color, many of the Muslim people, they don't understand why color is so important for the Chinese people. I give you one example, the red color. Red color is a very close to the Chinese society, because the red color is a part of the Chinese identity. The red color for the Chinese is representing the positive element in their life. happiness, health, wealth, prosperity, and associate with the good luck and the fortune of. In Chinese society, we used to call of. It's a good fortune. So, in Islam, red color should be not the big problem for us to accept. But some of the Muslim people, especially in our country, Malaysia, they are very phobia with the red color. And they don't want the for the color something. I think we have to make sure to clarify the concept of the coloring in the Chinese society or in the Chinese culture. Besides that, culture for the Chinese people is also very like it show their identity. And then one of the identity is their name. Many of the Muslim people, they try to abolish the Chinese name from the Chinese people after they embrace to Islam. I think we can remain the original name of the Chinese people. The name is bring a good meaning for them and also show their identity as a Chinese. So we cannot separate the Chinese belief from their culture. And then when we talk about the culture also is something that we can accept in Islam as long as it's not against the Islamic teaching or Islamic regulations. And then as a Muslim, we try not to understand the Chinese belief and culture, but we try to find the good element, value of the Chinese belief. And then there is a lot of the similarity between the Islamic teaching and the Chinese belief. I give one example in Buddhism. If we refer to the Buddhism, especially when we refer to the 5 basic teaching of Buddhism, especially in morality. First one is avoid killing or harming living thing or living being. So it's very close to the Islamic teaching. Actually, it's a part of the Islamic teaching. Secondly, is avoid stealing. And then it's also one of the Islamic teaching. Avoid sexual misconduct, avoid lying, avoid alcohol and the drug. So the one is a good element that we can accept in Islam. Besides the example that I give just now, I can also want to give you another example, is a Confucianism. If you go through the Confucianism, many of the concept in their philosophy is acceptable in Islam. One of the concept is about the humanity, about the modernity, kesederhanaan, and then also the authority in the family, respect to the elders, to our parents, to our brothers, and then to our leaders. I think this kind of the teaching that not only we can accept as a Muslim, but we also can use in part of our life, and we can practice it in our society. The most important thing is we try to correct the mindset of the Chinese in Malaysia. Until now, the Chinese look Islam from the negative perspective. For the Chinese, Islam is a religion for the Malay people. So when you embrace the Islam, you must become a Malay, or you will become part of the Malay. You will wear like a Malay, talk like a Malay, eat like a Malay, and also must look like a Malay. Actually, it's nothing wrong, but Chinese cannot become a Malay. So we have to clarify this matter to the Chinese people. Besides that, for the Chinese, Islam is a very stereotyped religion. Actually, it's not. Islam is a beauty religion. Islam can tolerate. Islam also can compromise. in many ways and in many things. But for the Chinese people, they look Islam in the narrow perspective. Like Islam is against the human right. Islam is very difficult to practice or very hard to implement because there is so many regulation, so many taboo, or so many things is forbidden for the Muslim people to do. So as a Muslim, we must give an alternative beside an explanation to them, and then to show that Islam is a beautiful religion. Islam not only give a solution, but Islam also provide the alternative. Like if what is forbidden for the Chinese people, we have so many alternatives or many food that we still can eat. Then the Chinese people also not really understand the concept of the tutup aurat. For them, when you become Muslim, you must wearing the tudung. But the most important thing for the Chinese people to make them understand about Islam is the concept of the cover the aurat or tutup the aurat. Not only the Chinese people not understand the concept of the aurat in Islam, but many of the Muslims also not really understand it. And then they think the tutup aurat is only a fashion. Actually, it's not only the fashion. It's not the fashion, but it's the way to protect the dignity of the women, for the human being. And it's a way to make sure that that we have to cover the important parts of our body, and then we cannot show it to the other people. So that's why it's a few things that for me is a very important for the Muslim people to discuss, and then to try to get some answer so we can convince the Chinese people that Islam is not what they think for few generations. Since I was small until now, so the perception is still the same. I think that's all for this first round, and then maybe we can discuss more detail in another round. Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum Assalam, Dr. Ann Wan Seng. Thank you very much. You have given us a few positive points that how we can deal with Chinese community. And one of the important points that we have raised here is that the Chinese look at Islam in a negative perspective. For them, Islam means Malay. So if they want to accept Islam, they feel that I have to become Malay. So we need to clear the perspective. And also you have mentioned lastly that example of covering aurat in Islam, for them maybe is a fashion. So we have to explain them the concept of covering aurat in Islam. So they will get the real Islam. So that's great. Thank you very much. Dear participant, this is the time for the what we call the second round, which is a question and answer session, right? So we have almost half an hour, 30 minutes plus for the question and answer. So what you can do now, you can write down your question in the chat, as I request there, dear brothers and sisters. You can write here your question. You can write down, or you can unmute your mic and make direct questions without any explanation. And just point out 3 of our panelists here, Dr. Jaysuman, Ust Fitri Abdullah, and then Dr. Ann Wan Seng. So whom you wanted to ask, or you want to ask Dr. Sayyid Hussain, the moderator, who will run away when you ask the question. Right? So please unmute and then you can ask. I think Yeah, can you start asking question? Will you write down? Mostly you can focus on what are the points and tips that you can learn from these three panelists to approach these three communities. Our brothers and sisters of Christian, our brothers and sisters Chinese community. So sometimes we don't know that when I am talking to one of our Hindu brother, right, what are the points that I should not raise? What are the way that I should not, deliver anything that, what are the things that I should not touch? Or is there any other, things that I can make them happy by using it, by doing it? So you can ask for the three community. I mean, three religious community. Yeah. So, Ustaz.
I consider yours is also like a question. While waiting for the rest, I think I will share about what you have asked, especially about the Indian community, yeah?
Yeah,
And I'll start by saying something about the things that you should avoid, the notes when you meet the Indian society, Indian people. First and foremost, please don't insult them. Because sometimes they cannot take it and they will never forget about it. Either you insult the race or the person himself or the religion. And these are the first thing, never insult. It will go deep into their heart and they'll remember that for centuries. And secondly is that don't pick up on the topic of caste system. And it's not that all the Indian people like to talk about the caste system. And don't go and ask them what is your caste. And if among them they don't talk about it also. And then one knows that when somebody doesn't belong to the society, the particular race, and when they go and ask about the caste, and of course they feel very uncomfortable and they don't talk about it. And the third thing is that we're talking about politics. And I rather say this now. Once you talk about politics, and then you can never get a chance to talk anymore. You have to talk about. And one of the things that the do's that I will rather say as a tips to us is that first and foremost,
sorry,
be nice to them,
there was a breakdown.
respect them.
Ustaz, sorry, there was a breakdown when you are giving the fourth point, which is don't talk about politics. We did not hear properly. Can you repeat it?
I think it's quite sensitive talking about politics, I suppose. That's why you're breaking. I'm just saying that when you talk about politics, I think end of the day, we have to do a lot of listening rather than talking. And they will pick up on the topic. I was attending visiting my cousins recently, and of course, the whole talk was about the budget. And I couldn't find any way to go and say or share about Islam to them. And end of the day, the last conclusion I did to them said, I just stood up and said, I am not a Malay. For them, they have a lot of things about ideas about Malays, which they don't agree. Malays means it's here Islam, yeah? And so this is the thing, and I think. But Doctor, to share with you about what are the good things that we should do when we are meeting the Indians is that first and foremost, be nice to them, be courteous to them, respect them. We call them by their names. And of course, if they do anything good, please praise them. Indians always like to be praised. I'm sorry, and generally they like to be praised. If they do something good, say you're doing something good, or at least say that your shirt looks nice, your sari looks nice. Say something nice to them. They like to listen for all those things. And what most if they do something for the society or something like that, why do you really want them? And of course, I would rather say that please go and visit them. They like that. Go and visit them, talk to them, be honest to them. And most of the time, as I said, very importantly, they are not interested in listening about religion. They're more interested in you than the religion. Of course. And you go and talk about Islam, they say, no, you come here, you come eat, and you just talk and go back. You don't talk about religion. Most of the time is what the response that we get when we start talking about religion to them. They don't like to talk about your religion, or they don't like to talk about their religion. The best part is that have a good conversation. Create an environment where that we can later, slowly, we can get into them, can bring them along to talk about the topic of the religion. It's not immediately. Some people, they say that, no, you must go and bring dawah to them. And no, they are not that. And of course, when people are very much exposed to the social media and everything, and they know what is dawah. And sometimes they know the purpose why you are visiting them also. They say, you come, you eat, you sit, and you can go back, but don't talk about anything about Islam. Sometimes they are very blunt. They just give straight there and there. And of course, as I say, that we just foster friendship, respect them, and most importantly is that we respect them and be courteous to them. And pay attention to what they say. Sometimes it's, of course, just jot down, just take a pen and jot down a piece of paper, jot down what they say. It shows that we really care for them. And of course, when you visit them, bring something, just buy some chocolates, biscuits, or something like that. And it's not them, but the family, the children will remember you. And of course, next time they'll question the parents, hey, please call the uncle to come again. Why? Because of the chocolates. That's all. Thank you.
That was very good. Thank you very much, and Jazakumullah, Ust Fitri Abdullah. We have a point and we have a question. Before I go to the question, let me ask Ust Fitri Abdullah. You have said here among the don'ts, told us don't talk about politics, don't talk about caste system with them, and you say that don't insult them, insult their race and religion, right? Can you specify us what is exactly on the part of the race and on the part of the religion that we should not touch? It's going to be insulting for the Hindus.
Right, thanks, Doctor. I'm going back to what Dr. Jaysuman said in the very beginning. One race is not better than the other race except for the righteousness, the taqwa they have in themselves, the piety they have in themselves. And the most importantly is that sometimes we look very down upon some races. I mean, this is very common in our country. Sometimes they insult. Everything will be very fine, and when come to a point if there's a disagreement, they started saying something about the racism. For example, let me be very specific. Like there's sometimes, people go to the extent of using the word like killing. Have you heard this word killing, Dr. Hussain?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, heard about it, okay. And also Right, and also the word like using the word like paraya.
Yeah.
They don't know what it means, but just they don't have nothing else better to say. They use this kind of words. I tell you, the word plague is not a dirty word, but the manner they use it sometimes, for the reason they use the word, I mean, it's something like an insult. The word is not bad, but they use it for the sake of an insult. That's why people get very irritated. When you irritate somebody, do you think that they want to listen to us? I mean, I'm talking generally, and the society don't like. And anybody talking, I'm using these kinds of bad words, these kind of bad words. It's not a bad word, but insults. And they cannot take it. When it comes to religion, and of course they have their own faith, they have their own belief. And how can we go and say that, of course we can say, Islam says there's only one God and worship that God. That's all about Islam. And if they ask another question, how about my God? Then you can say, of course there's only one God. Islam says worship that God. Islam not talking about anything about your God. But don't go to the extent of like what Allah says in Surah Al-Am, verse 108, Allah says, never insult other people's faith, other people's belief or idol of worship. If they want to worship an idol, let them go ahead. And Allah has not given them guidance to them, and they know there is one God. They don't know how to worship the one God, and they believe that they are worshiping one God through idols and so on. Let them be like what they wanted to be, we can say, but don't never insult whatever things they worship. And of course, they are not willing to compromise on that, and they end up with lots of, and who has like what we always see happening, and sometimes some of our dais also, sometimes they go overboard, by insulting idol worship of other religions, and sometimes end up with a lot of conflicts and so on. And when they come to a disagreement, of course, it's difficult to sit again and same table to talk about or share about any faith. We are trying to create a harmonious sort of a society, an environment, so that they can sit and talk anything openly under the sky. But once you start insulting, that's it. Anything, whether the race or the religion, better don't ever pick up on that issue.
Thank you so much. Right. Thank you so much, Ust Fitri. That's great. Excellent reminder for our brothers and sisters, right? Those who are dealing with, people of other faith, who are our brothers and sisters. And I would like to remind here, dear brothers and sisters, our brothers and sisters of other faith and race, or faith and races, or other religious, society, they are our brothers and the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We have to remember that any one of us going to hellfire in Qiyamah, the Prophet will be there and he will shed tears. The Prophet will be there and shed tears for each and everyone is being punished. So we have to remember this in mind, and then let us take all the advice, the do and don'ts, especially explained by Dr. Fitri. Don't insert their races. I think this belong to all the race, even though Ustaz Fitri based on the Hindus, right? And don't insult their religion, their God, as Quran says, right? And don't talk about their caste system, which is not clear for Malaysian Hindus, especially, right? I don't know they forgot or not, Ustaz, right? And it's also some kind of insulting for them. So far, I know, few of them talking about it and, bringing it up, it's kind of insult. And not much on politics, unless the person is having time 3 days to talk with you about politics, right? You can, rent a hotel and stay with him, talk politics. And then Ustaz has mentioned very important 2 points. I mean, what are the things this community are welcoming and they will be convinced? Practice giving presents, especially for children, right? And then when they are talking to you, pay attentions, right? You have to listen to them. I think this also belongs to all the communities, and right, and praise them with what is really good. Praise them, right? And whatever the good things that you are seeing in them, start in praising, right? And also, Ustaz has mentioned, right? Be kind and be respect to them. With that, thank you very much, Ustaz Fitri. Let me go to the question that posted here, right? Muhammad Firdaus Ibrahim has posted, Salam. I noticed in Malaysia, either Chinese or Indians, they can accept each other's religion and become partner, and easier to accept Christianity in their life, but not when it comes to Islam. He did not mention whom he is posting, right? Is it he is posting to Tuan Haji Jamaluddin or Dr. Sayyid or our panelists? Let me refer this question to Dr. Jaysuman. Doctor, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Silakan, Doctor.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, I noticed the question as well from Muhammad Firdaus Ibrahim. That's a valid, important question as well. Yeah? So he noticed that in the Chinese or Indian, they can accept each other's religion or even culture as well, becoming partners and friends, rather than Islam or Muslim, right? To a certain extent, yes, it is happening. Yeah, we can see that's happening. But I do agree to what Ustaz Fitri mentioned just now. Like we all know today, most of the time, people are not ready into religion anymore these days. Regardless what religion, because of the busy and the fast technology, and the world is so in rush in everything. The life is such a rush and so short. So people are so busy with all the worldly stuff, including Muslims. Yeah. So if we see these kind of incidents happening that they are not towards Islam, but rather they are towards any other faith, then I think that is something that we have to ponder on ourselves. We have to muhasabah diri, look at ourselves. Why is it happening? Is it because, they are not interested, or it's up to them, or that's their problem? or is it because of me? Rather than saying because of the Muslim. You see, it's maybe because of me meaning referring to the individual, all right? It's maybe because of my character. Maybe it's because of what I have portrayed. So just like what Ust Fitri mentioned is very true. They are not really looking into the religion, but they are looking at you. And you are indirectly representing your faith. You are the result of your faith. You are the result of your practice, if you have a practice. But if you don't have, then there's going to be another trouble, because you are representing another negative. You are portraying a negative part of your own faith. So, like I said just now, according to the statistic, Muslims are 61.32%. That's a huge number. That's a huge number. So when anyone commit anything negative, that really impacts to the whole 61.32% of Muslims in Malaysia, right? So that's going to be a huge impact. Yeah, comparing to maybe other minority faith and maybe races, right? It may not be so obvious than Muslims in Malaysia especially, right? So that is why, coming back to the very basic thing, I would like to also take this opportunity to maybe as a sharing on how to overcome this kind of situation as well. Me personally in Johor with my team, with my Alhamdulillah, my friends, my senior, my mentors from various NGOs, right? We organized this program called Sumbangan. Looking into this problem and situation, we try to address this situation by building bridges. Yeah, building the bridge for the people to communicate. Just imagine this: husband and wife, married for very long, but no communication. So because why they don't communicate? Because they think that the less we communicate, we can avoid more trouble.
Wait, what do you mean? Oh. Why stop?
Doctor, you have some breakdown.
Hussain.
Maybe you can try without your video, with audio only. Maybe the internet issue.
Yeah, he got cut off.
Dr. Jaysuman, you have already stopped.
Here, but he cannot hear. No communication.
I think, dear brothers and sisters, you can hear me, that doctor is having some maybe internet issue. Let him come back. So before Dr. Jaysuman come back and give us
Yeah, I
further
think he
explanation,
had to log out then masuk balik.
let me post
Got
this.
cut off just now.
The second one is not a question. It is a very simple question, but also it's a statement for me. I think this must go to Tuan Haji Jamaluddin as a CEO of a few alliance committee of the various NGOs. Tuan Haji, are you there? Tuan Haji Jamaluddin, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Are you going to take it this one? Noli Hussain has asked. I think it is before Noli Hussain, it is Abdul Ghani.
I'm not on the panel, so I should.
Okay, can I read for you?
No, but I can quickly just respond to this.
Yeah, please. When you start to respond, Haji, all the panelists are very happy.
There is, in fact, a lot of effort by NGOs, even government-appointed committees. Yeah? For example, the JKMPKA, Jawatan Kuasa Mempromosi Persefahaman dan Harmonian di antara penganut agama, that have been working to develop or to create this sense of actually understanding each other. The term religion tolerance may be not the exact word, but more to understand each other, especially more so from the practical experiences ataupun cultural practices, to understand each other, so that we respect each other and understand what the fellow Christian or fellow Hindu is practicing. So this effort has been on, maybe not on a national level, but at more sectorial level, which we have also done at the university level. For example, there was one program on religious understanding, a series of it that has been done with JKMPKA and also Jabatan Perpaduan. So a lot of effort needs to be done in order for us, inshallah, to really break the barrier. I think the barrier is, and we have to analyze what are the issues that is creating this barrier. I think, inshallah. Thank you. I think Dr. Jaysuman is back here.
Right. Thank you very much, Tuan Jamaluddin. Dr. Jaysuman, Brother Jay.
Yeah. Sound test.
Yeah. You can go ahead another few seconds also. Can.
Sorry, it was a 10-second break. Blackout just now. It just happened so suddenly.
All right, please.
So, as a conclusion, as a response to the question just now, when we try to organize some of these interfaith programs, activities, trying to bring along different cultural and also different background of people in society, so we face some challenges. We have to be honest. Some of the challenges, one part of it is from the Muslims community itself, right? So Muslim community have actually addressed to us and said that why are you letting them talking about the religion? We should be just talking on Islam, right? So this is one of the challenges, right? And the second one is that agama adalah sensitif. Lebih baik kita jangan bincang. Dia jangan sentuh hal-hal macam ni. Well, I would say it's because it is sensitive that we have to communicate and discuss. Then we can understand each other. So, and throughout my experience in engaging with multicultural and different types of society background, I find that people with religion and they practice their religion, they are peaceful people. They are peaceful people. We can sit down and talk. We may have, of course, we are going to have lots of different opinions and differences in terms of practice and also faith. But because they are peaceful people, they are able to tolerate. So they have some level of tolerance because of the awareness they have. So these are what we call as, open-minded, and we want to have more of this kind of people. Then our country will actually secure this unity and harmony environment for the people. Now the third challenge is from the non-Muslims as well. So we approach a bishop, Christian church, to invite them to organize together on this interfaith program. And the bishop also personally, honestly, also told me that he also faced some challenges among the Christians. And the Christians also would say, like, why are you letting them talk about their faith again? So we have this kind of people, we do have this kind of people. And the fourth one is from the authorities. They are afraid of trouble, like tensions, politics, and this kind of stuff. And the last one I would like to also mention that since COVID-19, right, we are now in a new norm. Like it or not, this is a new norm, norma baru, right? So new norm means it's bringing us to a new future. The world is not going to react and respond and work the same as it is before. So that's why we have to tune in, and also we have to adapt to this situation. And because of the new norm, we are now having meeting in Zoom. Right. Because of the new norm, we are having this discussion in Zoom, or else we will maybe in masjid or maybe some hall, right? So because of this new norm, on the positive side, the world become open access. It is much now open access. Anyone, everyone can access to anything, anytime, anywhere. Right. Yeah. So, and because of this, there are going to be some challenges, such as it's going to lead to more like a social problem. So this is something we have to concern as well. Yeah. So by having interfaith activities, we can actually also address many cancerous situations, such as social problem, moral breakdowns among our youngsters. And not only the youngsters, also the oldsters, if I say it, right? Among all the people, we have problems with humility, right? So by having this kind of interfaith program, we can actually unite to address some serious issue which will actually sink the whole ship, and we are in the same ship. So we better focus on something more important and something is more more cancerous, right? And one way to address all this is by having religious understanding. And yeah, so as a conclusion, this is my tips on how to fail in life. I'm actually teaching you how to fail in life. Okay, this is how to fail in life. Just be arrogant. Just be arrogant. Sombong. And you will fail in anything in life. Regardless, whether it's religion, whether it's your career, whether it's your family, whether with your spouse, whether with your kids, arrogance is the key to failure of anything. And that is exactly mentioned in Surah Luqman, chapter 31, verse 18. Yeah? And turn not your face away from men with pride, nor walk insolence through the earth. Verily Allah likes not each arrogant boaster. Jangan berjalan di atas muka bumi dengan belagak sombong. Jangan memandang rendah terhadap manusia lagi. Allah benci kepada orang-orang yang macam ini, sifat-sifat macam ini. So my last as my closing, and also the things that I've learned most, people been asking this question: what is the best way to do dakwah? We are discussing about this tonight as well, right? What is the best way to do dakwah? How should we address this? How should we answer this? How should we refute this statement and so on? Well, the best da'wah is very simple and very straightforward. Everyone can do. The best da'wah for the Muslim is just be a good Muslim. Just be a good Muslim. As a Muslim, we have this practice of all the Islamic thoughts and teachings from Allah, from Rasulullah, and anyone else ever. So just be a good Muslim. You're already doing a very good job, a noble work for the world. Inshallah. That is for...
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. And especially our brother Jay, right? There is a question for you. Before that, I think Noli Hussain, I think it is important to ask permission first to talk about the concept of, each religion with good intention. We're giving another idea when you are engaged with anyone, right? If you feel that religious matter is sensitive, so you just, ask permission to talk about Islam or talk about the religion you want to share. And then one more thing she has mentioned here, it is good of prime media, it is good if prime media could always present these kind of program, the, understanding of the other faith program to educate everyone for harmonious society. It's a great idea, good idea, if the media are ready to do that. But brother, let me be, devil of advocate tonight. If the whole society, the whole human society is in peace, there is no work for the media, brother. So they won't like it. No issue for them. Sorry to say that. But let's work together, to educate the media, not the people. First. Thank you very much. Forgive me for that statement. This is a personal statement, right? Okay, then, Brother Abdul Ghani, again to Dr. J. What will be the situation when a child is born to a Chinese father and an Indian mother, whereby they are Muslim in registration, part with JPN, and what will be race of child in the birth certificates? So, Brother Abdul Ghani, this is for you, Doctor, again.
Oh, you mean the child is born in a Muslim family, right?
That's what I think it's asking.
Yeah, because I can't read the question anymore because I just entered the group.
What I'm asking is, when a child is born to a Chinese mother, it means not Muslim, I think, Indian mother, whereby they are Muslim in registration.
Yeah. So basically, they are born into the Muslim family, all right?
Yeah.
So we have lots of this kind of situation, whether the family is a practicing family or not. Muslim or not, that's a question. Practicing or not, that's another question, all right? So that happens to any other religion as well, right? So if it's a practicing family, then I don't think it's an issue. What the problem is, most of us today, I'm not going to specifically addressing this to only to Muslims. The situation can be put as in the Christian family as well. Born to a Christian father or mother, but then they are not practicing Buddhism or Hinduism. So it's about coming back to the human value that they have over there, right? Of course, constitutionally they have some laws and rules and regulation which that is beyond my authority, and also I am not in the position to comment on that. But spiritually, Islam, you cannot be born and inherit Islam. No one can do that, right? Because Islam it means sincere submission to Allah. So anyone to be a Muslim, some point of their life, they have to submit themselves sincerely, willingly to Allah. Then they are called as Muslim in the sight of Allah, which means there is no force. There's no way to force anyone to be a Muslim. So spiritually, I would say that little child. That's why we Muslims, we believe this dunya. We came to this dunya by the permission of Allah. This life is a test. And we are in the exam hall today in the world. And the examiner, Allah, is looking on us. How are we going to go on this test? And of course, when there's a test, the teacher always gives us some tips before they put us into tests. Right, so we have the Quran as a Muslim, we have the guidance, we have the guidelines, and that's one point. The second point is we as the society, as the people who have awareness are forming and organizing this kind of program. So we have to play our responsibility and our part to educate and to assist them, the people, the nation, because they are hoping for us, and we have to create that good environment for the people to access to good and good information and also good role example. So I think that will be a short response from me.
Okay, thank you very much. We have last question we have almost 8 minutes now to complete our tonight's session, inshallah. This is for Dr. Ann Wan Seng. Doctor, are you there? Yes, Brother Abdul Ghani again. He says it's not politics. Can we as Muslim forego the race and recognize we as Malaysian only differentiate by religion? Can Dr. Ann Wan Seng answer? Doctor, you have a few minutes for it, please. Can you please unmute? Dr. Ann Wan Seng? I think we cannot hear you. There is a breakdown, fully breakdown. Maybe Dr. Ann Wan Seng, can you try by, off the video and only go for the audio? Press the stop of video. You can go for Doctor.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
It seems he's no longer logged in.
He's there.
Is it?
And let me try to look at his status, how he's there. Dr. Ann Wan Seng, right? Okay. All right, but anyway, thank you very much. Let's wait if Dr. Ann Wan Seng come back. Anyone wanted to answer these questions? Does anyone can among our panelists today? Maybe Dr. Fitri or our Dr. Jay?
Well, Assalamualaikum, Doctor.
Assalamu wa rahmatullah.
I think probably this is something that the people who belong to the Malay race should answer this question. I think I cannot say much about this. It's something, I think what they have in their mind. I mean, are they willing to forego that? I mean, of course, something very ideal we may feel, but at the same time, I think we rather like to listen from our Malay brothers. Are we willing to forgo that for the sake of becoming a Malaysian? And I leave it back to you.
All right. Thank you very much. Is there anything to say? 1 or 2 minutes or less than that? Dr. J?
Well, okay, as a closing remark. Yeah, it's a closing remark, right, Dr. Sayyid?
You can go. We want to say anything on that question, especially. Yeah.
Oh,
You will be the last. Yeah.
I'm actually interested to have the response from our Malay brothers as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Dr. J and Dr. Ann Wan Seng. We are almost there. And I, as a panel, as a moderator today, maybe I can just reply that.
Ann Wan Seng is already there.
Yeah, as a moderator today, tonight, I may give you a religious point of view on that. Brother Abdul Ghani. Islamically, there is no issue about the race. There is no issue about about our race or language or anything, right? So we don't need to worry about race and language. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam never ever attempted even once to, either it is to delete the races or delete the improved customs or norms or the languages. So we should not go to that level. If you ask me, I'm not politics. We're not talking about politics, but we have to accept all type of race, all type of language, and whatever the custom and norms is not against, Islamic concept. So we have to accept it, and we have to respect, right? So we cannot, go for erasing a race or a language or established, recognized custom or culture. So let us be as it is, but try to be as like Dr. J says that a good human first. A good human, this is first I used to say. Second is a good citizen, right? And then only you can be a good Muslim, right? So lastly, it's like Dr. J said that, Dr. Jaysuman says that if we are good Muslim, then, right, we're going to success here and hereafter. And we're going to have peace life, peace and harmony. No issue will be. And then if we want to destroy this harmony, if we want it, then it's like Dr. says, be an arrogant, right? May Allah forgive. So, still, Dr. Ann Wan Seng is not here.
Dr. Sayyid?
Yeah.
Jamal, this is Jamal here. Before we complete with the closing remarks of the panelists, can I ask Dr. GP Doresami to say something? 1 minute, Dr. Doresami?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Can you come in?
Oh, up here.
Dr. Doresami? Yeah.
Yes. Mr. Lim, you are next, yeah? Okay, Dr. Doresami, how are you?
Yes, fine. Thank you, Brother Jamal. I'm very grateful for being here this evening. Especially, I must thank Brother Jamal for giving me this opportunity and this link for this evening. Well, it was a really wonderful session. I've been really following all the three panelists, right from Dr. J, Ust Fitri, and also from Dr. Ann Wan Seng, and I think the moderator, Dr. Sayyid. You're doing a wonderful job. Well, to cut short, brief, I know Brother Jamal, we met not in Malaysia, but we met in Korea. Last year March, we were in the World Peace Summit in South Korea, in Seoul, and that's where I met Brother Jamal, and in fact, I'm a Hindu, but I went together with our friends, Malay friends, on a Friday prayers to the mosque in Seoul, Korea, and all my Muslim friends were praying according to their own faith, and I was doing my prayers well inside the mosque, of course, at the back portion. So I've been to many mosques around the world, many Christian churches around the world, and to me, as a Hindu, I did my postgraduate Sharia law, and I was one of the first non-Muslim in Malaysia to enter International Islamic University in the late 1990s. The late 1980s. I was one of the students. I came back from London after finishing my law degree, and I went straight to University of Islam, and I registered for to do a Sharia law, postgraduate Sharia law, and that's where I met Professor Dr. Ahmad Ibrahim. He's arwah now, and he interviewed me. He asked, Mr. Doraisamy, are you a Muslim or are you a Hindu? So I said, Prof, I'm a Hindu. And you wanted to do Sharia law? Yes, Prof. And you know what he asked me next? What made you to do Sharia law? You have to study the Quran. I said, well, Prof, if you really want me to study the Quran, I will study the Quran. I'm prepared for it. But the question is, will University of Islam allow me to do Sharia law, being a Hindu? Well, he said, oh, definitely I will ask the permission of the Senate. And I answered him that, now prior to become, I spent almost 6 to 7 years in Kelantan in the 70s. I was a teacher in a very remote area in Kelantan. I mean, in the 70s, Kelantan was ruled by PAS. And I stayed in a very rural area in Kelantan, in Pasir Putih, among the Malays, among the Muslim community in Pasir Putih in Kelantan. And I got fascinated when the Muslim brothers and sisters in Kelantan, they really took care of me so well. There was no question about, oh, I'm a Hindu, or you're a Islam. No such thing. And I was very fascinated. And after I came back from London, after 4 years in London, I came back, I straight went to University of Islam. I told Professor Ahmad Ibrahim, this is the question. He was very fascinated. And they allowed me to do Sharia law. And I studied the Quran. And they were very surprised that I got through all the 5 papers: Islamic Sharia law, Islamic civil law, Islamic criminal law, Islamic family law, Islamic land law, Islamic jurisprudence, and I got through all in one go. Even my Malay friends who did with me, and they failed one or two papers, and they were very surprised. I said, you must have a passion in anything that